So I came in out of the sun to make the flower tincture because I think it's really warm out there today. It's in the 90s. So, and I brought you can see I just cut these a few minutes ago and they're already wilting. So what I'm going to do is I have fresh spring water in here. I use all glass, and I found this container at a thrift store and I just love it because it has I love the design of it. It's like this quantum swirling, energetic, good feng shui, and it has a lid on it. So I can sit it out in the sun in the garden and not worry about insects and other things getting into it. So I'm just going to fill this up. You don't need a lot of water. This is going to be the mother tincture of the flower essence. So I'm going to fill it up with water, and then I'm going to take these freshly cut flower buds, even though this comfrey is incredible. The leaves are just sticky with resin. It's just sticking together. And so now on these, what I'm going to do is try to get just the little purple flowers that are opened up. So beautiful. And even this one, I may just pick off the little flowers themselves, although they grow in these chains next to each other, and somehow I think they'll be happier if they're all picked off together in the same chain. And again, they're just sticky. It sticks to my hands, and that's the resin in the plant. But if you think about it, comfrey, it helps things knit together. Bone knit. It's like gluing two ends of a bone together. There's some little flowers. And I'm just taking the open, freshly cut buds. Okay. And then the rest of these, I will take and put in the compost. I keep saying compost with comfrey because comfrey absorbs the minerals from the ground, and it's great to add back into your compost, so all the minerals go back into the soil. There's a little one right there. It doesn't have any open. This one has a lot open. So we're just going with the little open flower buds. Here's a big, beautiful bunch that I gathered out there. You can see here. And I'm literally doing this I cut them and I went inside, got the water and the container, and came right back out, and I'm putting these little flower buds in the water. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go set them out in the sun. The sun was a Sagittarius full moon last night, and so the sun is really potent today. We're heading into full-blown summer season down here in Florida, which means there's a lot of humidity and heat and dampness in the air. But the mangoes are starting to ripen on the tree, and mangoes are a great fruit for dampness. They're very moist and very juicy, and I have been putting them in my morning smoothie now. Every morning I go out and find a couple more that have fallen on the ground, and I put them in my morning smoothie because I'm feeling the dampness in my own body. Okay, so here we have all of these beautiful little flowers, and they're just floating on top of the water. And again, this is filtered spring water. It's not good to have like distilled water because there's no electrolytes in the water, which is what helps the water carry the charge of the flowers. But these are such beautiful little plants. I was talking about the damp heat as I was cutting them and putting them in here. So maybe this comfrey flower essence may be good for some damp heat. I always, I remain open and I don't try to control things too much by what medicine I want coming from this plant, but my fallback in determining my intention is always for the highest good of all concerned. And however that may play out, may our hearts and our spirits and our minds be open to whatever lessons, whatever blessings, whatever healings may come forth from this beautiful plant. It's been growing on its own in my backyard. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to put the lid on it, and then I'm going to carry it outside and put it in the sun, and I will show you where I place it. So here is the container with the comfrey blossoms in it, and you can see there's a beautiful little flowers in the bright sun, and I put this on there just to protect it a little bit. And it's just a cool design. I think it's an old candy dish probably. So I place this in this planter that doesn't have anything growing in it. There are some these are some just weeds, and this will protect it from the dogs running through the garden. And I'm just going to leave it out here. The sun is so intense right now. I'm just going to leave it out here for an hour or so, and then I will take it in and I will filter out the small flower buds. And this will be the Comfrey Mother Tincture made on June 4th, 2013. And then I will be taking in the flowers, the Comfrey flowers, to look at these big, beautiful, thank you, these big, beautiful purple flowers. I'm going to be taking in the Comfrey leaves to dry, and then we will make some things later on with the dried plant material. So thank you very much. Hello, I'll show my face a little bit. I'm here to show you actually, first of all, what I harvested in the garden this morning. So I have my comfrey leaves that you saw me pick off the plant. And what I did when I brought them in is I just looked them over, made sure there were no bugs on them, and I didn't wash them because I don't want to add any more water to the plant. But I kind of just laid them out in this basket. And you guys, there's no right or wrong method of doing this. Every time I do it, it's a little bit different. And you're actually just really playing with the plant and communing with the plant. You know, like go back to when you were a little kid, if you ever played outside and made mud pies and picked plants and leaves. And I just took each leaf and just tenderly laid it out in this basket. And then what I'm going to do with this basket is put it up on a shelf. We have pretty cool air conditioning in our house, so it's really dry. So I'm going to put it on a shelf that's covered so that it won't get coated in dust. And then I'll probably eventually lay with some tissue paper or parchment paper or something like that over it, just to protect it from getting dirty, and let it really dry out well. Because then what we're going to do is take these fresh leaves, dried out, and turn them into powder. So they need to be really dry. So that can take several weeks. And then I had to show you the beautiful mangoes coming off the tree because it is mango season, as I said, damp heat season. And this is the final roots that I took out of that red spine. I think it's the red spine dandelion. It's not the typical dandelion Toxicarum officinalis. It's a different species. So I need to take a look and do some research in this species. But this is the root ball that came out of it. And you just see it's just wild. It looks almost like ginseng. It's just all wound around each other like multiple roots. And it almost looks like a person embracing another person and dancing wildly. So again, like, get to know your plant. I mean, just the feel of this, the aroma, you know, smell it. It's coming right out of the soil. I sprayed it down with the hose outside. I haven't even really scrubbed it. I just sprayed it down with the hose outside. You can see the redness on this root, that red color. It's like the same phytochemicals that are in beets. So it's a potent antioxidant. We know that just from that red color on there. I don't have to go look in a book or anything to tell me that much. So that is my red vein dandelion. So we're going to look that up and I will have more information on this. Again, these roots, they need to dry as well. But what you want to do with roots is chop them up into small little pieces before you dry them. I mean, this is so wonderful. I hate to even chop it up, but it's going to be the best way to dry it. I am going to do some research on it first and see what it's good for. If the root is not good for much, which I doubt, then I may just save this root as this just wonderful, like, medicine piece. It's almost like an altar piece, like Medusa's hair or something. It's just really awesome. So that was the roots we dug. And then I'm going to show you how we are going to process and make a mother tincture out of our gorgeous flower essences. And these were sitting out there for at least an hour. I had to spray the dogs down with the hose to get all the mud off of them. They just got groomed yesterday and proceeded to go out and play in the mud pile today. So by the time I got them sprayed out and some other plants taken care of and watered, it was a good hour. So these are our beautiful little comfrey blossoms, and they have a very faint smell to them, not really strong. Okay, and then our second ones were the dandelion leaf flowers, and it's kind of hard to see them down there. We may start with these first because they're in a little pourable container. I think I'm going to show you. So what we get, you take the flowers, let them float around in spring water. You can also add in some stones if you like. Flower essences go really well with gem elixirs. So sometimes I will drop like a quartz crystal in there with it. The quartz will amplify the charge of the flower essence. It's a really nice, it doesn't add any energy, it just like magnifies the energy that's already there. And so all you need to make a flower essence is your water with your flowers in it that have been sitting out in the sunlight. I use a bowl because I think it's easier to strain, and I have a stainless steel strainer here. You can pick them up at like Home Goods, super cheap. So these are like basic medicine making tools. Some stainless steel bowls, a strainer. I have a stainless steel funnel, because what we were going to do is we were going to transfer the mother tinctures into a dropper bottle. Now these are 1 ounce dropper bottles, and if you are just doing this for your own use, this is going to last you forever. You can also use a 2 ounce dropper bottle, which I sometimes do, but honestly, I think it's a waste of space and everything else, because out of this mother tincture, you're going to be taking 2 drops and putting it into another 1 ounce bottle of liquid. So this is 30 mLs, and I believe there's 15 drops per ml. So you're going to get, out of 1 ml from this mother tincture, you're going to get like 7 bottles of flower essence. And that's just out of 1 ml, and you have 30 mLs. So it's a lot. So I would just use a 1 ounce bottle. Now, what we want to do with the flower essence is we're going to strain out the plant material into this brand new clean stainless steel bowl. I'm just going to pour it through the strainer. There's one little flower that fell through there. And let me just get those other 2 flowers out, because what I do with the flowers after making a flower essence, I take them and offer them to the Fae realm, to the fairies. And I take them out underneath a tree where I make a lot of offerings. It's one of those trees with all the cool root structure underneath. And I lay them out there as an offering to the Fae for allowing these flowers to give us their medicine. Okay, so those are those flowers, and we're just going to set this aside. And then what we're going to do is I have, because I'm a veterinarian, I have a syringe, and I find this makes my life so much easier because we are going to take, for every part, I think in parts instead of mils or cc's, because you know, a part could be a half a cup, a part could be a full cup, a part could be 10 cc's. So for every part water we are going to put in this little 30 ml 1 ounce bottle, we are going to put 1 part alcohol. So it's going to be a 50-50 mixture water to alcohol in our mother tincture. And the reason we do that is because we want it to last for 10, 15 years on the shelf, 20 years. And if it's preserved in that much alcohol, it is going to last for you. Okay. Now, so what I do is I use this Paulette organic brandy from France. It's got a really smooth taste to me. I don't like really strong alcohol, potent alcohol, but it's organic brandy. It's from France, and it just has a beautiful softness to it, whereas sometimes a vodka, for me, can be really bitey and harsh. So this, I just pour out, I have a little dish here that I'm going to draw up the brandy in with a syringe so I can measure it out. Okay, so there's our brandy. The roots off to the side. This is like a typical medicine making table. We have roots, we have fresh fruit. See the mangoes? Oh man, yummy. Okay. So before we get any further, what we're going to do is make our labels, and you need to label every jar. I label them before I put the liquid in there, that way I don't forget, and the label sticks on better. Okay, these are, I may not use these for these particular jars, and I may replace them. These are removable labels. So these are labels that I stick on quart jars and things where I'm sitting there letting the material macerate when I'm making tinctures and oils and vinegars, because I know I'm going to take it off and put a more permanent label on there. So what I do with the labels is you want to cut off 2 labels here. This one, okay, you want to label it with the date, which is 6/4/23. You want to label it with what it is, so it's going to be a mother essence of, put red spine dandelion, and you can also put any other kinds of notes on there. Like this is, I made these in the full moon of Sagittarius, which is some yummy, yummy energy. Okay, so I put there on the label, and I use a Sharpie, so hopefully it won't smear off. Full moon, Sagittarius, red spined dandelion, and I just put it right on my jar. Okay. Now again, these are impermanent labels, so you can also just use, you can use painter's tape for that matter. We use this to label everything in our kitchen. It's good old blue painter's tape, you know, and so I would just take a section of this, and the Sharpie sticks to it really well. So for the, we have 6/4/24 mother essence of Comfrey full moon Sag. Okay. Now, why I put the moon on there is the moon has a huge influence on the plants. The moon and the stars have a huge influence on flowers and blooming, especially, just like it does the tides. So when you have a full moon energy, it's that full out blossom ripening energy. And you can see it here on the table with everything I've harvested today. Okay, so we have our dandelion tincture. So I'm just going to take the dropper off. Let me do this so you can see it properly. And I have a 20 ml syringe. You could use a baster, you could use a measuring cup, but I love this because I can just stick this down in the liquid, draw up exactly how much I want, and put it in the jar, and I don't even have to use a funnel. I do have a stainless steel funnel out here like this, but pouring from a bowl into a funnel and getting this bottle only half full is really tricky. So you could go to your vet, or if you know an equine vet that uses big syringes, or probably even look on Amazon and buy yourself some 20cc plastic syringes. You can use them, you can rinse them off, you can reuse them. Okay, so that's a 30 ml vial. So I want to fill it up with 15 mils of this beautiful flower water. Okay, and it doesn't have to be perfect. There may be air in the syringe, but that doesn't have to be perfect. We're not worried about that. And then we just take the syringe and put it right in the bottle and put it right in like that. No muss, no fuss, and we got the exact amount. Then I take the same syringe, I don't need to rinse it off, and I just put it in my brandy, pull it up to the 15 ml mark. All right, we have 15 mLs of brandy. And then I just put the brandy right into the bottle. Okay, now I want to put the lid on the bottle. And the most important part is we're going to succuss this essence. So water is made up of 2 oxygen molecules coming off of a hydrogen molecule. And those 2 oxygen molecules are arms, and that angle between those 2 can change back and forth. And that's what enables water to make those beautiful snowflake patterns in ice and snow. And I don't know if you've ever seen, I can't remember his name. He was a Japanese photographer, and he photographed the power of water and water forming all these beautiful crystalline formations. Well, we're going to succuss this water so that the energy of that flower gets imbibed into those water molecules and into the brandy. It has a lot of alcohol, has a lot of water into it too, so that's why we use alcohol. And it's going to send that vibratory essence through the brandy, charge it up in the water. And again, if you want to use a little quartz crystal, you could even put a little shard of quartz crystal down the bottom of this jar. And so we beat it on our palm. Now, the other place you do succussion like this is with homeopathic remedies as well. Okay, and so that's it. That is all it takes, folks, to make a mother essence, flower essence. And to use this, you would take 2 to 3 drops of this out of this bottle, put it into a second bottle, fill this bottle up with spring water and however much alcohol you want. If you're going to use it right away and it's just for your use and you don't need it to have a long shelf life, you don't need to put any additional alcohol into it. Okay, the alcohol in this is just making sure it can last. You can sit it on your shelf and it is not going to go bad. And I do believe that alcohol has something to do with holding that energetic charge in there as well. So it's good and succussed. We've got our mother essence of dandelion flower. Now, I'm going to take these and rinse these and I will be right back. Okay, I am back again, and again we are going to take these little flowers. We are going to pour our Comfrey flower water through the strainer. And gently, I just add all these little flowers to it. Okay, there we go. And we're done with this. And we're done with this. Okay. Ooh, there were some little pop and crackles when I lifted that up. How interesting. Okay, so I have all my little my flowers here that I'm going to take outside to make the offering with. On this full moon, the Fae have a lot to do with gardens and keeping our gardens healthy and adding their beautiful energy. I don't know if you've ever seen some beautiful drawings of flowers with these little flower divas in them and little fairies. And if that's the other thing I recommend doing with these flower essences is sitting down with you know, even the flowers right here with the water before you pour it out, and meditating on it. The best that I've found is actually sitting next to the plant, the mother plant, while the flowers are in the spring water, out in nature, exactly where that plant is growing, and just grounding down, clearing your mind, and asking the plant diva to tell you any messages that you might need to know about this flower essence and how it might help you. And you would be really surprised at what you will hear. I did that with each and every one of the flower essences that I made for Molly and me. And those are available. I just don't advertise them a lot because it's a lot of work. I mix them up individually and put my intentions into them and everything else. It's a lot of work. Okay, so we're going to take our next empty bottle with the label on it that says June 4th, Comfrey Mother Essence on the full moon of Sagittarius. So we're going to pull up 15 approximately mLs of this beautiful flower essence water, and we're going to put it in our bottle. And then we're going to pull up 15 mLs. The only reason I'm using 15 mLs is I took the total volume of the jar bottle and divided it by half, so I can fill the bottle, because I want 50% brandy and 50% of the flower water. Okay, and then we're going to put our dropper in it. I use glass dropper bottles. This is alcohol, and I want it to sit on the shelf, and I don't want it to degrade. So that's another important thing. And then we're going to succuss it, just like we did the other one. Right? And when you're succussing it, you can sing to it. You can think of the flower diva coming in from that beautiful purple flowers of Comfrey. And what does she want to tell us? What kind of medicine? You know, you think of those purple bluebell-like flowers dancing around in the water molecules in this little bottle. It's like just capturing that little bit of flower fairy magic. Yeah, and it really tunes in really well with our emotional bodies and our dog's emotional bodies. You know, comfrey is a plant that this would probably be an excellent, this just came through to me as I'm talking to you, an excellent remedy for trauma, for broken bones, for fractures, for emotional trauma, for a dog that had been beaten, a dog that had been in a car accident, hit by car, dogs that are in the emergency room, or just emotionally traumatized. The owner may have died, they had to move, they went through a really bad hurricane or storm. Comfrey. It's very soothing, and it knits back the bones. Okay, so there you have it. We have 2 flower essences for the day, and this was just me going out there trimming away plants. We have an entire basket full of fresh comfrey leaves that are going to dry. And then we've got our roots, our really cool roots. And I'm going to take these up to the garden right now and return them to the fairies with some blessings, along with the rest of this water. Thank you for joining me today. And if you have any questions, go out and make some flower essences. With the flower essences, I mean, you obviously don't want them sprayed with pesticides, but if you get a really fresh bloomed flower, you don't have to worry too much. And if you don't want to pick the actual flower, I will show you an indirect method of making a flower essence as well, because people make flower essences from endangered flowers, and so they don't want to pick the flower. They want the flower flower is the reproductive organ. The flower is going to produce the seed so that that plant can go on and reproduce more plants. So sometimes you don't want to remove the flower from the actual plant. There's tons of flowers out there, and these are good old garden herbs, kitchen garden herbs, like your grandmother may have grown. So join me in the future for another round of video.